Yeah, I just think we didn't score. I think the outlier of us in crunch time was against Connecticut. We scored. We scored down the stretch. And in all the other close games we have lost, we have tied it or had a slight lead, and then we have failed to score the last 3 minutes of the game. So it just came back down to our offensive possessions.
Samara took just one shot against LSU. Is that something you're okay with from her, and what went into the low amount of shot looks?
Yeah, I don't know. I have not seen her yet today. So we need to watch film and talk about why she played the way she played.
You guys passed the... Oh, I didn't even realize there was a mic. Sorry. My voice is loud enough.
Yeah, you don't need it.
You guys passed the all-time three-pointers made in a single season. Just what's the next step when it comes from taking shots from deep for this team as a whole?
Yeah, I think we have done a better job with our shot selection. I actually think we could get back to shooting some more threes. I think our numbers have gone down. We've had games where we've shot 60, and then we've had games where we shot 18. And so just making sure that we define shot selection a little bit more, but I do think we could get some more up.
Kind of building off what Cora asked, how have you seen the team respond from Sunday's game after kind of having a peak on Thursday and then back to a low against LSU?
Yeah, yesterday was our mandatory day off, and so we're getting ready to go to film now, so we haven't seen them yet.
I thought what you said about Z after the game was interesting about how, when she puts, winning above everything else, she's really good for you guys. Is that an issue that's maybe not isolated to her? Is it kind of across the team at times where winning isn't put above everything, and do you feel like that contributes to some of the issues down the stretch?
I think anytime you coach young people, you have different focuses, and at our Connecticut game, it was bigger than our team. It was for the alumni, it was for the fans, it was for every Lady Vol that came before us, and there was a different aura going into that game. It was about history. And then you just get back, okay, just another game. It's just not another game. We're playing the number 6 team in the country. It's still about representing our program well and just trying to find that balance.
Auburn has 2 players, Gaston and Scott, who are averaging more than 20 points a game. What's the challenge in slowing down players like that?
Yeah, I mean, Gaston she's going to be tough for us. She has good size. She can score anyway at the rim. We're going to have to throw multiple people at her because she's tough.
You talked about Connecticut being not just another game. When it comes to a game like Auburn, something that maybe would be considered just another game, how do you maintain that level of focus that you had in the game against Connecticut and LSU?
Yeah, hey, we got to get back to your roots. You got to treat every game the same, but we still have to get better. We have to build the rest of our schedule. We have to take care of business, and so we still have to have a sense of urgency. And we talk about at length of being a top 10 team in the country, and you can do that by beating Connecticut and then beating LSU, or you could do that by winning the remainder of the games in your schedule.
Kind of going back to what you said about going back to LSU is just another game to them. The rest of these games, if you win out, you're in pretty good position for the SEC tournament. If you slip up and lose one, then, things could get dicey for seeding and stuff like that. But just, do you think is that the biggest challenge for your team right now, going to a game, especially against Auburn, who almost beat Oklahoma last night, to not treat every game like it's just a game and knowing the margin of error they have in every single game going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that they come out and play different. I don't necessarily know that just another game was probably the right words to use, but we have games where we look like we're supposed to look, and we have games that look like our practice, and we have moments in other games where it looks like our practice, and then LSU looked like LSU's practice. It didn't look like us. We didn't run in transition. We didn't press. We didn't go get offensive rebounds. We didn't do anything that we were supposed to do. So just getting back to us and finding our roots consistently for 40 minutes, that is what the difference was. In Connecticut, when we played Connecticut, we looked like us. It looked like our practice, not theirs.
The last time you guys were home, it was the largest crowd in over a decade. Just what do you think it is about this team that is bringing more people in this season?
I think we just have a phenomenal fan base. Our fan base they're loud, they show up, they support. It's unfortunate. I think Sundays are probably our bigger crowds, but we don't have very many Sunday games at home. But I think we just have a great fan base that's hungry. You kind of do it the same way. You're watching film, you're watching significant amount of film on your last game, and then you have to close that, and then you have to open up your opponent, and then you have to get ready for that.
You guys were even with LSU on the boards through 3 quarters, and then Anissa Morrow kind of just went off in the 4th. Is that a concern for you, just knowing that your team had done a good job limiting, leading scorer, leading rebounder until that final quarter when things got really tight? Is that something you've seen in the past, or is that kind of a new thing that came up Sunday?
Oh, we've seen it in the past. We've lost a lot of games on offensive rebounds. Also, our bigs were in foul trouble. So when you have both of your bigs in the bench because they are in foul trouble and you're going with a smaller lineup, then it gives her opportunity to go get rebounds.
It seemed in that game, too, that there were a lot more turnovers that came from, like, the ball being stripped or bad passes. What do you think was contributing to that, and how did they correct that?
That's LSU's defense. That's their bread and butter. That's what they're great at, the live ball turnovers, and they kill teams on that. They killed us on that here, and they killed us on that there, and that was a big part of our scout of making sure that we take care of the ball. We even said throw the ball out of bounds before you throw the ball, before you have a turnover where they can go score. And it's easier said than done. Nobody's going to throw the ball out of bounds, but that's just how good they are on defense.
You got all but 6 points from 4 players against LSU. Do you care about kind of where the points come from?
Yeah, I really care about where the points come from. We are our best when we get something from everyone. When everyone shows up, and whether it's 3 points or 4 points, but when everyone gives us something on the stat sheet, we are at our best.
Thursday's the Play for K game. Just any personal connection that you have to that initiative?
I think it's an amazing initiative. I think anytime you can fight a disease that claims so many and affects so many lives around you, it's worth notice, and I'm happy that we get to be a part of it.
This was from a while ago, but I remember you mentioned after Vanderbilt the practices, the consistency starts in practice and stringing your practice. Do you feel like you've seen that over the start of this month with your team? Have you felt like there's progress in putting those good practices together?
I do. I think our practices have gotten better since after our South Carolina loss.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.